Hey guys, welcome back to the Unsavvy Budgeter. For those of you that are new to this channel, my name is Cindy and I take you along with me on my debt-free journey to pay off over $71,000 in credit card and student loan debt. For this video, I'm going to be doing a vlog and kind of checking in with myself on my thoughts and feelings as I'm going through this process. I also wanted to share some big news for me, which is I told a family member for the first time that I am in debt. So stick around and stay tuned for that story. So I mentioned that my husband and I flew out to Georgia to visit some family. We've been out here for a little over 3 weeks now, and we're still working. We're just taking advantage of working remote. We've never really had that opportunity before to really kind of pick up and go and work wherever we want. Thankfully, both of our companies approved for us to work remote out of here, and we were able to adjust our schedules. I did want to preface that I know that traveling during a pandemic is highly not advised, and it was something that I definitely thought about a lot when it came to figuring out if this trip was worth it. But it was really kind of a once in a lifetime opportunity for us, especially since we're looking at how we can afford a home in the near future and start thinking about growing our family and how we can save as much as possible doing that. We decided that we were going to do all the precautionary stuff that we could before flying out here. So that meant both of us getting COVID tested and getting negative results back before we flew out. We also brought a change of clothes in our backpacks so that we could just switch out our clothes right when we landed at the airport. We wore an N95 mask and face shields on the flight just to make sure that we weren't spreading anything, and we put our Lysol spray and everything we could to just minimize the spread. And pretty much when we got here, we quarantined in my sister's basement and just tried to have minimal contact and not really go out anywhere. So we just spent a lot of time at home, and even now we're still spending a lot of time at home. I'm still doing typical things like Instacart deliveries and things like that, so that's been helping. And as much as I wish that this was a vacation, it's really not. We're really tired and busy from working in a different time zone, but also trying to be flexible in case we have any meetings that come up in the evening for Pacific Coast time that we want to be considerate about. I wasn't planning on letting my sister know about my debt at first, but after talking to her about our dreams and our plans, and I had let her know early on in the beginning that we're sticking to like $1,000 spending budget, not including our bills, our fixed monthly bills. So she was like really impressed that I was trying to stick to a budget. Even with that budget, I wanted to make sure that we weren't a burden on her family, and we have been trying to take on some of the chores around the house, cleaning the house, and taking on some meal cooking for her to relieve her from having to feed a family of 6 instead of a family of 4. I know that was a big adjustment for her, and I could see that she was getting really exhausted from caring for 2 other people. So that had been weighing a lot on me and my husband. We kind of felt like we were walking on eggshells, making sure that we weren't a burden to anybody at all. After having more time to talk to her, she asked me a lot about my plans, and we talked about my budget, and she was assuming that, okay, if I'm only setting $1,000 budget for spending, then that must mean that we're putting a lot away and we can, have that money for a down payment fairly quickly. And unfortunately, that really wasn't the case, and I didn't really want to lie and tell her like, oh yeah, we're saving when we're not. We're really trying to pay off debt. And if I didn't tell her that we were saving, then she's just assuming that I have a very massive spending problem. So I kind of just got the courage and broke my silence and just told her the truth and let her know that, you know, this is the first time I'm really opening up to family about my situation. And I told her that, you know, I told her what my debt was and that I had just $30,000, over $30,000 in credit card debt alone that I've been trying to pay off. And she was kind of quiet and shocked at first. We don't really talk about finances in that way, and my family doesn't believe in debt, at least that kind of debt. They are okay with student loans and mortgage. So it was a bit of a harder conversation to have, and I think that's why I feel a lot more shame. I wouldn't feel as bad if it was just student debt alone. At least with that, I think people are a little bit more understanding, like, oh, you did what you had to do for school. But with credit card debt, it's really hard to explain a good reasoning for that, besides me just really spending. And I didn't have any major emergencies that really, you know, caused me to accrue that credit card debt. So I told her the truth about all that, and she took it. You know, she was shocked, but she took it a lot better than I thought that she would. She opened up to me that when she was younger than me and that she was in a similar situation in her early 20s, and she had about $10,000 in credit card debt, and her boyfriend, who is her husband now, really, you know, motivated her to take care of that as soon as possible. And she said that he really helped her like pay that off ASAP, and so that they could have a fresh start and be debt free. And that made me feel better. So she was saying, like, you know, it wasn't $30,000 worth, but it was $10,000, and it felt like a lot for her. I felt so much better. It was actually really emotional to talk about it because I feel so much shame talking about this stuff. She was really understanding too about when I told her like why I felt like I got myself into this situation and how I felt like I had a lack of knowledge about finances. And I explained to her, like, we grew up and we definitely learned the value of a dollar and to earn our own money and not burden others, but none of us were ever really taught to save. And she opened up to me about, you know, how she could relate and understand how I may be feeling that way, because my parents didn't have much money at all back then for all of us. My parents had 6 kids, so they were more focused on making sure that they had a roof over our head and provide us with the basic needs. And she admitted that, you know, when we were young, we had a lot of desires and wants as a child, but we were forced to grow up pretty fast. And unfortunately, you know, we didn't get a lot of the things that a lot of our peers had. So the moment we did have money, we were spending it and buying the things that we've always wanted without really much control or understanding the consequences if we were to, you know, just spend and not save at all. So now she's educating me more, not just me, but my husband, more about housing and real estate and how we can get our money to grow. So I feel it feels a lot lighter to have these conversations with her, and she's been really understanding, and she understands a lot more about why we're doing what we're doing now. So she understands that we have this phase that we need to get through before we can save. So she knows that we need to knock the debt out of the way, then we're able to move forward and focus on saving for a home. She doesn't explicitly say it, but I can tell that ever since I had this conversation with her, she's really empathized with our situation, and I see her doing extra things and going out of her way to make our financial situation easier. So she will buy groceries and not expect us to pay her back, and she is cooking a lot more meals and not pushing us to spend any money at all. So she's been really accommodating, and sorry. I just didn't expect to have this support because it's been so hard to talk about. And I felt like so much weight was lifted off my shoulders talking about this and opening up. And I really thank you guys for really helping me get to this place and share like the difficulties that I've been experiencing with my husband, because I feel like I'm such a blocker to my husband and my future. And it's just I'm finally like seeing and feeling the progress and feeling like our dreams are attainable. So I just wanted to kind of be raw with you guys and share and kind of just share that this is definitely not a fun and easy process to go through, but it is definitely worth every step that we've taken. It's been so nice to kind of be out here for a month and not have to worry about the usual expenses that I would have to worry about. And it's also been another big reason that I came out here with my husband was we want to figure out how we can make Georgia our home. So we've been doing a lot of research just on how much it's going to cost to move out here, what housing looks like here, and how much we would be paying for mortgage monthly. And we wanted to understand the different fees and taxes that come along with living in another state. So it's been really nice to kind of have this time to research that and talk to my siblings about it. They got us in touch with their realtor, so we've been able to talk to their realtor about just housing and how this all would work out and what we would need, and understand things that we didn't understand before, like PMI. If we don't have the 20% down, or are we really much better off with that 20% down and not paying that PMI mortgage insurance or whatever you call it? Having a resource and getting clarity about that really helped. He was also able to give us some private showings of some homes that we felt like were in our price range for the future. So it was really nice to be able to go with him and have these private showings of homes, and he pointed out and educated us a lot about homes. So we were thankful for that knowledge. Another big reason is my brother-in-law knew that we could really use the money. I actually got my skills of like reselling from him, and he's been a big help with teaching me what I already know. So he invited me to come, my husband and I, to come over here because he actually resells stuff on the side. That's like one of his side hustles, and he brings into their household income. So he actually was able to partner with somebody that pretty much has a haul away business where they'll haul away your junk for free or at a minimal price. And so his partner finds all this unwanted stuff from people that consider it junk, and he hauls it away and kind of goes through it and disposes of anything that really isn't of any value to the right place, and anything that he deems valuable he actually brings to my brother-in-law. A lot of it's like electronics and things like that, or household goods. So he brings it to my brother-in-law, and my brother-in-law sorts through it and does the research on the resale value, and they just kind of try to sell it on different platforms. So my brother-in-law really was behind on that stuff, on that business, and he's been working a lot on renovating a rental home that they purchased. So he really needed the help, and my husband and I flew over here and started selling some stuff already. We listed what we could after doing the research, and I think so far we've sold about over $1,000 in items, but we have to share our profits with my brother-in-law's partner, so it's 50-50. And my brother-in-law pretty much told us that like whatever we sell, we can keep the entire 50% profit. He's not going to make us cut it with him. He put in the work to sell the stuff, and if it gets sold, then that 50% cut is all yours. So that's been really nice passive income for me, especially this week. I think I got a little over $200, so I plan on putting that towards my debt, and that's been really helpful. And honestly, I'm just really physically and emotionally exhausted. I've been going through this process trying to make time to film, and I also have been trying to make time to help with household chores around the house and do my day job and pretty much work on selling what I can and shipping that stuff. So it's been really tiring, and I've also been trying to make time to look at potential living areas. We'd like to move out here right at the end of the year, so we've been looking at different rentals, apartments, and also making time to view homes so that we can have a better understanding of like what our dream home would be. Obviously we're not looking for anything like massive, just something reasonable that we could afford, and we could feel like we could still save and put away money so that our entire paycheck doesn't go towards mortgage. Yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at right now. Yeah, it's just been really tiring, and I'm sorry if my previous videos weren't of the best quality. It's just been me trying to adjust to doing my day-to-day stuff in a new place and state, and I don't have as much privacy anymore. So yeah, anyways guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video. Obviously check out my other vlog if you enjoyed content like this. I'll keep you updated on how my progress is going and how the rest of my Georgia trip is. But if you liked, give it a thumbs up. I hope that you guys stick with me on this debt-free journey, so feel free to subscribe and click that notification bell if you want to get notified of my future videos. I release every Wednesday and Saturday, so keep an eye out for that. But thank you so much really for listening to me and let me babble and go on about my problems, but I really appreciate you all.